Hello, welcome to Yin and Restorative Yoga. We had a request for more of an all over the body type of physical practice. And we'll continue with our focus on the sixth limb of yoga. So make sure you have 2 yoga blocks, a blanket, which I'm grabbing off camera, a bolster or a pillow, and a strap. And let's begin in a comfortable, auspicious pose seat where you're elevating your pelvis either on a folded blanket, 2 blocks, or a bolster. So that as you sit towards the front edge of that prop, you can allow your knees to drop more easily apart. And then take a moment to just wiggle and shift around as you might need. Orient yourself in your space visually by scanning what's around you with your eyes and literally regulating your nervous system by doing that. So the sixth limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, as you've heard in our last practice, is called dharana, and it is Sanskrit to mean concentration. That's the usual translation of it. I'd like to bring a bit more of the interpretation written by Nischala Joy Devi in her book, The Secret Power of Yoga, and she says, it's frequently used synonymously and interchangeably with the word meditation as well as concentration. Defining it as concentration suggests an intense focusing of the mind. This characterization can cause our bodies to tense and our breathing to become irregular. And while our senses are alerted to the mission at hand, there is little comfort or ease. More accurately, dharana invites us into an easeful awareness that prompts the flow of consciousness back to its source. In choosing an English equivalent for dharana, contemplation or reflection is more in keeping with the effect we want to evoke. Through dharana, our thoughts, feelings, and actions interweave, inducing a pattern of consciousness that flows harmoniously to the source. Gathering consciousness and focusing it within is dharana. In Book 1 of the Yoga Sutras, we are offered a selection of uplifting ways to lead the mind and emotions to dharana and the next limb, which is dhyana. The sutras, being very empowering and non-restrictive, after offering us many choices, ultimately leave the path open-ended. For example, Sutra 1.39, dedicate yourself to anything that elevates and embraces your heart when choosing what to concentrate on. These 2 simple criteria for selecting a focus, elevation and embracing, seem agreeable to most anyone. The first part of Sutra 1.39 suggests that the focus be both uplifting and inspiring. This gives you the freedom to choose almost anything you wish as your object of focus, a chakra or a spiritual center on the body, a great and inspiring being that you admire, a prayer or a sacred word. The options are infinite. Choose carefully so that the qualities held within the sacred object will have the power to escort you to the depth of your divine self. The second suggestion is that you love it and that it elevates you to a state of joy. When you select something you love, your heart will want to embrace it fully. So she goes on to talk about how the Yoga Sutras tells us when you're choosing what to focus on, choose something that uplifts and inspires you. And then she ends with, we are filled with joy and bliss when if we truly love what we are focused on. With time and practice, the energy flows to the centers of higher consciousness, propelled by our devotion. Even if you're given a focus for practice by a teacher or learn one from a tried and true tradition, it is important to adapt it as you embrace it with your whole heart. And I love that reminder. Any of the yoga practices, adapting it so that you can embrace it with your whole heart. Let's begin the practice, preparing for meditation in the end. by loosening up the body and relieving it of tension so that we can tune our attention inward. So let's find a comfortable seat, maybe close the eyes and start to check in, beginning with your outermost layer, your physical body. In your mind's eye, scanning your awareness throughout it, and just noticing how it feels right now. Bring your awareness to the sensations of the natural breath. And through the qualities of your breathing, notice how you're feeling energetically right now. And then tune into your heart. What feels emotionally present within you? Tune into your mind. What is the energy of your mind? The patterns of your thoughts at this moment. And then maybe join the hands in prayer at your heart, gesturing union of all these different layers and gratitude, beginning to deepen your breath. Let the inhale take its time, creating space in the body. As you exhale through your lips a few times, imagine you're fogging a mirror, creating a very soft whispering sound. And then call to heart something you appreciate. And through this, energizing yourself as you set your intention or sankalpa for this practice. Defining what you are cultivating in your feeling state, or maybe setting an intention for any aspect in your life in which you're creating a shift right now. And as we remember the bigger picture we're a part of, the greater whole, I invite you to choose someone that you care about, or maybe even someone who has recently challenged you, that you might offer this practice to, sending loving kindness to them. And together, let's join our voices chanting Om, creating resonance 3 times. Inhale a little deeper. And beginning a breathing technique that will help us to enliven and cleanse our lungs, as well as clear any clouds in the mind, so cultivate clarity. And it often can feel uplifting as well, uplifting for your mood. And this breathing technique is called Bhastrika Pranayama, or bellows breath. If you've been sitting cross-legged already, you might switch the cross of your shin that's forward or on top just to even out this stretch in the hips. So bellows breath, place your hands on the lowest sides of your ribs, the left and right lowest ribs, and allow the inhale to fully expand your rib cage and your belly. Closing the lips, exhale just as much. You can feel the contrast, softening the belly in. Inhale, fully expand belly and lungs. and exhale with just as much strength. Now, bellows breath is a little more brisk, and there's actually a physical movement or kriya that you can practice along with it that helps the energizing effect. If you'd like to add the kriya, bend your elbows apart as you relax the shoulders and make fists with your hands. As you breathe in, straighten your arms overhead and spread your fingers apart. As you breathe out, rebend your elbows and refist your hands. So it's all through the nose, mouth is closed, rhythmic, equal deep inhales and exhales. And as you're practicing it, you might be closing your eyes and landing your inner gaze at any of your 7 chakras, like your third eye center between the eyebrows, to help you to concentrate. So it looks somewhat like this. So find a pace that you can sustain for a minute. And if you need to come in and out, take rests if you need. I'm gonna watch the clock, so prepare to begin. Bellows breath for 1 minute and go. We're halfway through the minute. And relax. Breathing naturally. Notice how you're feeling. Now, as you continue to breathe with your lips closed, bring your hands to the left and right walls of your rib cage again, and invite an equal expansion onto the left and right sides of your ribs as you inhale slowly and fully. As you narrow the back of your throat, exhale a soft whispering sound. All through the nose, balancing the slow length of inhales with exhales. Creating a gentle sound that you can anchor your attention on to help it concentrate. Practicing dharana. Keeping an easeful, steady flow of breath like this. Let's prepare to move the body to warm it up so that we can be in some postures a little longer in yin and restorative poses. So you may like to have your 2 blocks in front of the top of your mat on their tallest height like this. Please come to stand behind the blocks with your feet hips width apart and parallel to each other. Spreading your toes, bring your hands together at your heart center. Come back to your intention for this practice. And we'll begin with half sun salutations, moving to the sound rhythm of your breath and saluting this great source of energy, the sun, as well as the source within. On your next inhale, slowly raise your arms forward and overhead while dropping your shoulders back, gaze up. As you exhale, bowing forward towards your legs, feel free to bend your knees if the backs of your legs are not yet feeling any warmth. Plant your fingertips on the blocks or the ground ahead and inhale to lengthen your spine parallel to the ground. Exhale, bow towards your legs, leaning forward. Press down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rising all the way up to stand, arms overhead, rolling the shoulders back and down. Exhale as though blessing yourself. Join your hands in prayer from your crown center to your heart center. Let's try 2 more. Ardha Surya Namaskars. Inhale, sweep the arms up in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips in Uttanasana. Inhale, press down with the fingertips lengthen forward in Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Pressing down through the feet. Inhale, sweep your arms, rising to the top of the in-breath, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, joining your hands in front of your heart into Padasana. Last one, inhale, sweep the arms forward, rolling the shoulders back, draw your tailbone towards the ground right between the heels. Exhale, hinge forward, Uttanasana. Pressing with your fingertips, inhale, reach your heart through your upper arms. Exhale, fold again. Rooting down, inhale, rise slowly. Use the full length of the in-breath and the full length of the out-breath as you exhale to trace your thumbs down your center line to the heart. Now let's move into Sun Salutation C, warming up more of the lower body. Inhale the arms forward, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge forward, Uttanasana. This time, plant your fingertips on the ground outside of your heels and inhale, step your left knee behind you into a kneeling lunge, gaze up. As you hold your breath, step back into your version of plank, knees down or legs straight. Exhale, lower your knees, then your chest, hugging the elbows towards your ribs, then your chin, sticking the tailbone up. Inhale, slither your belly forward, ground the feet, and coil your chest up to cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your pelvis back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward, beside your left thumb, lower your right knee, and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Press to your feet, inhale, sweep your arms forward, rising to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, slowly join your hands down to your heart in Padasana. Stick that to the second side, Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana.
Michelle, the video hasn't been working for a little bit.
Oh no. Let me pause this. So let's start from the beginning of the second side of Sun Salutation C. Join your hands in prayer at your heart. Standing in mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your right knee back, kneeling lunge, gaze up. As you hold your breath, step back to plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide forward on the ground, entering cobra pose. Exhale, lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and fold. Inhale, rise slowly to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands at your heart in Padasana. And then from here, let's step the feet really wide apart. We're gonna warm up the inner and outer thighs and hips a bit with some more movement. So pretty much step your feet as wide apart as you can, splay your hands apart like this. And then from your right hip socket, turn out your right leg until your toes are pointing to the short edge of your mat, 90 degrees, and turn in the left leg 45. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. And we're gonna move in and out of Warrior Two. So evenly press down through both feet as your legs are straight. Raise your arms and get long through the torso, but relax the shoulders down and hug in the bottom of your front ribs. Breathe in here. As you exhale, look at your right knee, bend it right on top of your ankle as you open the arms apart into Warrior Two. Press through the feet. Inhale, rise up, straighten the legs again, arms overhead. Exhale, down to Warrior Two. Just making sure the knee lands right on top of the heel, not in front of it. 3 more breaths. Inhale, lift up, straighten. Exhale, bend, warrior 2. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior 2. Last one, breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, warrior 2. Now from here, straighten your legs, relax the arms, and parallel your feet again in the same wide stance. From your left leg, turn out 90 degrees. Right leg, turn in 45. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot and equally press down through both feet. Inhale, raise your arms, lengthen your torso while relaxing the shoulders down. Look at your left knee and exhale, bend it to stack right over your heel and open your arms wide. Warrior 2. Inhale, straighten the leg, raise your arms. Exhale, bend, warrior 2. Let's keep going, 3 more breaths. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. And exhale, bend. Now from here, straighten both legs and once again parallel your feet, this time preparing for a wide-legged forward fold with your hands clasped behind your back. Now you might opt to hold a strap instead of clasping the hands, and here's how you can discern that. If you're clasping the hands and lifting the hands away from your lower back, if it doesn't go any further than maybe 5 inches or so, then you can get more range of motion because we're going to bow and open up the fronts of the shoulders by holding a strap between your hands with a little more space while your thumbs are pointing away from your spine like this. And then as you lift the hands, you'll be able to stretch the arms further back. So choose strap or clasp. And as you parallel your feet, inhale, roll your shoulders down and gaze up. Exhale, tilt your weight forward until you're bowing and your hips are aligned with your ankles or not behind the heels. Dropping your head completely, notice if it might be helpful to relax your spine more by bending the knees. Feel free to do that. And then stretch the arms further and further away from the lower back while listening to your breath. Long, even breaths. Bending your elbows slightly, lift your shoulder heads away from your neck and let your head hang as freely as possible. You might even shake your head a few times and nod your head a few times. And if you find that your shoulders are getting warmer, you might walk the hands closer together on the strap or go ahead and interlace the fingers. Let's stay for another 4 or 5 deep breaths here. Let your whole spine unwind like a waterfall, just releasing down towards the earth. Bending the knees as much as you need to support that. Then release your arms and let your arms just hang loose for a moment. You might shimmy out your shoulders. You might shake out the hands. Stay aware of your breathing. Place your hands onto your hips and bend your elbows towards the sky. Firming in your belly, inhale, lead with your chest, bend the knees here, and slowly rise. And now let's come on down to the floor. Well, we'll start with a block, coming into supported bridge pose, opening up the front body, including the fronts of the shoulders, chest, fronts of the hips and thighs. So come on down to your back and separate your feet about your hips width apart. Parallel your feet to each other and bring your arms down by your sides. Have your heels close enough where you could almost touch them with your fingertips, but not quite. Now from here, take your block And press down with your feet to lift your pelvis off the floor, sliding the block by the lowest height wide across the flat part of your lower back, your sacrum. Adjust it so it feels pretty even on both sides, and you can comfortably rest your weight on it. Keep your thighs parallel to each other and feel your weight evenly grounded through your inner edges of your feet as well as the outer edges of your feet. As you bring your arms as close as you can to your sides, roll the fronts of your shoulders back, broadening your collarbones wide, and flip your palms to face up to help that, sliding the shoulder blades further down your back ribs. Now tilt your chin slightly back away from the chest, welcoming the breath through the nose, through the throat, cross your collarbones. Feel it expand your chest, side ribs, and even back ribs down to your belly. Focusing on deep, full breaths as this posture promotes. We're going to stay another 2 minutes here. If you would like a little more lift in the pelvis, which also encourages blood flow towards the heart, you could tilt the block to the second level height. Stack 2 blocks if you like, or if it's comfortable, tilt the block to the highest level. Continue to root down the backs of your shoulders and tilt your chin back. Continue to feel that your feet are parallel to each other and grounded through the inner and outer edges. And while there's no visible movement really in this pose, bring the energetic movement, your mind's eye, your intention, to drawing your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. Slightly spinning your inner thighs towards the ground without moving your feet. This rotation of the thigh bones at the hip sockets helps to broaden across the lower back, as the tailbone lengthening forward helps to lengthen the lower back. And for the last minute here, focus on the sound waves of your breath. Sense the end of this next exhalation before you begin to remove the block from underneath and slowly lower your spine and pelvis to the floor. Keep your feet on the ground and begin to windshield wiper your shins slowly side to side. Gently massaging your glutes and lower back onto the earth. Finish a couple more in each direction. Before coming back to center, then cross your right leg over the left and raise your feet off the ground. Splay your feet as wide apart from each other as you can so your thighs hug your midline even closer. This is supine cow face pose, Supta Gomukhasana. Reach your hands to catch hold of your outer feet. If that's not reachable while still resting your head and shoulders down, then maybe catch your outer shins instead. If still not reachable, then catch the backs of your thighs, but keep splaying the feet wide apart. Now ground your tailbone. Keep the pelvis on the floor, the shoulders and head down. You could also use a pillow for your head if you need. And see if your thighs might come closer to your belly as your feet splay wider apart. Let's be here for 10 full breaths. Now maintain the cross of your legs as we prepare for a supine spinal twist. Lower your feet to the ground just for a moment and open your arms wide apart on the floor. Slide your pelvis another 3 to 5 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Now, keeping your right shoulder on the floor, maybe gazing past it to stretch your neck. Lift your feet off the floor and begin to lower your knees to your left side. Only go as far as your right shoulder stays on the ground. So if it begins to rise, you can use any of your props like your pillow, a stack of blocks to catch the outside of your left leg. If your lower back is asking for a deeper release, use your left hand to gently press away your right outer hip so it tilts slightly towards the front edge of your mat. Now let's tune in to the sound of 10 more slow breaths. And when you're ready, gently unwind onto your back, uncross your legs, slide your legs forward on the floor, and reach the arms overhead for 3 breaths, stretching through both ends of your body. Feel your spine unwind from that twist. Notice any sensation that might be shifting. And then bend your knees again and cross your left thigh as much as you can over your right thigh. With your pelvis down the midline of your mat, let's begin in supine cow face pose. Lifting your feet off the ground, splay your feet wide apart, keeping your pelvis on the floor, and reach for your outer feet or your outer shins or the backs of your thighs. Keep your head, shoulders, back of your tailbone down as you bring the thighs possibly closer to your belly and maybe splay the feet wider apart. For 10 more deep breaths. Now let's prepare for the supine spinal twist. Place your feet on the ground, open your arms wide apart, lift your pelvis and slide it to the left another 3 to 5 inches. Ground your left shoulder and maybe gaze past it, stretching your neck. Then lift your feet and begin to drop your knees to your right side. Remember, only go as far as the left shoulder can stay on the ground. If it starts to rise, back off a little and place props under your outer right leg. And here, if your lower back is needing a little more of a stretch, place your right hand on your left outer hip and gently press it towards the front edge of your mat. Let's listen to 10 more slow breaths. As you're ready, unwind onto your back, uncross your legs, and once again, stretch your legs forward on the floor, raise your arms overhead, and for 3 breaths, stretch throughout, up and down your body. And observe how your body's feeling right now. Bend your right knee into your chest. And breath by breath, hugging the right thigh closer to the right outer ribs. Circle your right foot at the ankle a few times in both directions for just about 5 or 7 breaths. And then let's switch. Slide the right leg forward, bend the left knee towards your chest. Take hold of your thigh or shin, and then slide the thigh closer to the left outer ribs, circling your left foot in both directions. Keep your head and shoulders grounded here. Now let's come into happy baby pose. Bend both knees to the outsides of your shoulders. Lift the soles of your feet parallel to each other, facing the sky, and take hold of your outer shins or outer feet And continue to splay your feet apart, drawing your knees towards the ground while rooting your tailbone on the floor and keeping your head and shoulders grounded too. Another 5 to 7 breaths. Then slide your hands to your outer thighs and take the direction that is easiest for you to rock and roll and slowly lift your torso upwards to sit. Eventually coming down onto your hands and your knees. Let's take 3 rounds of slow cat-cows. You may like to stretch your wrists here by spinning out your hands so that your fingertips to some degree turn out to face the left and right walls or the rear edge of your mat. With your shoulders stacked above your wrists, step your knees a couple inches behind your hips and use the full length of the inhale to glide your torso forward, roll the shoulders back, and arch looking up. Cow pose. Use the entire exhalation to contract your abdomen, tuck the tailbone beneath you, and drop your head to round into cat pose. Take a couple more slow rounds of Betalasana. Relax to a neutral spine when you're finished, and then walk back to sit on your calves. We're actually going to stretch the soles of the feet, which have a lot of energy channels as well. So tuck your toes behind you, and now begin to lean back, just to the degree that you can be in this posture for 10 breaths. The more you lean back, the deeper it is. So see what feels okay in your body. If you are hands-free and upright in your spine, relax the shoulders back and down and lift up through the back of your skull. Maybe join your hands and prayer at the heart as you feel the breath moving in and out through the nose. If you find this challenging, call to mind something that inspires you, something that inspires you to feel ease. And if you're finished with your 10th exhalation, bring your hands forward on the floor and untuck your toes, point them back. And now let's do the opposite, stretching into the fronts of the ankles and feet. You might choose to lift one knee at a time, like this, for about 5 breaths each side. Or if it feels okay for you, you can place the hands behind you and rock back like a rocking chair, lifting both knees for 10 full breaths. Count your breaths. And then gently lower your shins, walk your hands forward, come back to tabletop, and tap the tops of your feet onto the ground. Just getting a little more blood flow into that area. From here, have your knees a couple inches behind the hips, wrists under shoulders. Inhale, raise your right arm towards the sky. Exhale, thread the arm under your left, bend to elbow, and lower the right side of your head all the way down. If it doesn't comfortably rest on the ground, use any of your props to rest your head on. Once again, 10 slow breaths in the spinal twist, broadening across the upper back. Breathe into it. Soften your shoulders away from your neck, inviting spaciousness around your neck and shoulders. And as you're ready, gently press up to hands and knees again. Pause for at least a full breath. Maybe a long exhale with the mouth open. When you're ready, second side. Inhale, raise your left arm up high. Exhale, thread it beneath your right, bend to elbow. Lower the left side of your head all the way down. Use a prop if you need. Level out your hips. Lengthen your neck. And breathe across your upper back. 10 deep breaths. Slide back into child's pose momentarily, just a few breaths to digest. Thread the needle on both sides, that twist. Feet together, knees together or apart, anywhere you want to rest your arms. If you'd like to actively stretch your back, you can stretch the arms forward. And just a few more breaths here in Balasana. And slowly roll your spine upright. Turn to face the wide width of your mat and gather a pillow, maybe a block, maybe a blanket as well. And open your legs wide towards a straddle. Coming into a variation of Upavishta Konasana. Place your pillow perpendicular to the front of your pelvis like this, so that you can lean forward towards it. And you can stack more pillows or blankets on top, and or you can create an incline by placing one block underneath the furthest edge of the pillow so that you can embrace it. So make sure your knees and your toes point straight up. They don't turn to face forward. Ground your sitting bones. Inhale, lift your chest. And then begin to lower your torso. If you want to lie face down, you could put a pillow or a folded blanket just under your forehead, or a block under the forehead. We'll be here for 2 more minutes. Take your time beginning to press the ground with your hands and slowly lifting your head to rise up. Please find a comfortable way to sit for a brief pranayama practice of grounding breath, particularly box breathing or samavriti pranayama. So sit in a way that you can feel easeful in breathing. Your spine is tall and alert, but your whole body is relaxed. To add to the feeling of grounding, you might bring your thumbs and index fingers to touch and rest the palms face down. You might also close your eyes and help your mind to focus on the breath by placing your mind's eye once again on a chakra in your body, or maybe simply at the area where you feel the breath. So we're going to continue breathing with the lips closed. We'll inhale for a count of 4, hold the breath in for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold the breath out for a count of 4 for 1 cycle. And we'll practice 3 cycles together and then continue on your own for 2 more cycles. Let's prepare to begin by exhaling. Hold the breath out. Slowly inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the nose, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Second cycle, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Third cycle, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue 2 more cycles. When you're finished, relax the breath into its natural flow and notice how you're feeling. And if your eyes are already closed, you might keep them closed as you make your way to the ground to lie down, finding a comfortable resting position for corpse pose, where you can splay out the arms and legs, maybe turn the palms face up beside you. Practicing non-doing and resting your awareness inward. Shavasana. As you rest here a little longer, and begin to notice how your body feels again. Taking your time, gently begin to wake it up with slow, little by little movements. And gradually turn over onto your right side and rest your head, sensing the natural breath Observe how you feel now energetically. And then take your time lifting your body up. Find a way to sit comfortably and alert again. Preparing to sit for 5 minutes in meditation. And as Nishala cited the Yoga Sutras, choose something that elevates, uplifts, and inspires you to be your object of focus. I tend to choose the sensation of the breath because for me that feels relaxing, and it's just subtle enough that requires more attention, but a gentle awareness, not a forced attention. You might choose to envision someone that inspires you, a figure, a spiritual being, or a human, or something else, and let the feeling be your object of focus. You might choose to gaze at a candle. So decide what your object of focus is going to be and let it be easy to focus on it, where it doesn't feel like you're forcing the focus, but you're resting the awareness there. Let's begin. Notice how your heart feels emotionally. Notice how your mind feels. You might join your hands together at your heart, offering gratitude for anything you choose. Remember what your intention was for your practice. And remember to whom you dedicated today's practice. And in closing, let's join our voices chanting 3 ohms. Inhale. Bowing in, acknowledge and honor the light within. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.